Hello and welcome to Only a Podcast. Two blokes upside down and many miles from home talk about popular culture and unpopular culture too. Books, music, films, the news, what we had for dinner last night, everything is fair game. We've no idea what we're doing or why, but we're going to do it. Episode 2. The difficult second episode.
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of It's Only a Podcast. We'll start off with a few thank yous, I think. We got quite a lot of interaction from people out there, and we were whelmed by it. Not overwhelmed, obviously, but certainly not underwhelmed. So
just whelmed.
We were just whelmed, which is good. So yeah, we've got a few followers on the socials, which is good, and we got a good number of downloads and playbacks. So a good start, I think. So we're going to have to make a good effort this time to make it good. I'll give a couple of shout outs to a couple of people in particular. The people that followed us first on the socials once we launched. So on Twitter, that was Neil Pace at Box of Peppers.
Go on, Neil.
Yeah, I don't know Neil. I know Neil now. Box of Peppers. On Instagram, it was Katie, and that's at K2. I don't need to pronounce that. At Kayteue. So thank you, Katie, on Instagram.
I don't pronounce that either.
No,
but it's our friend in Christchurch.
K2A, we'll go with. And on Facebook, it's a bit hard to tell who was first. So it was either one of my good friends, Mike or Craig in the UK. So well done for being first followers. So well done. We have been. A couple of people have asked to give a bit more background about ourselves, how we know each other and how we got here and what's going on. So you can kick off, Captain, with that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we met in London when we were working together for an interesting finance company. Let's say that. And
this was about 1996, 96, 97.
Oh, good Lord.
Something like that.
Was it?
Yeah. Probably 25 years ago, getting on for that.
Yeah. So as I got booted out in 2001, that's about 4 years.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And Mrs. L. Telly was working there as well, obviously.
Yeah, she was. And, it's a long time ago now. And we've just stayed in touch ever since, really. We never worked together again, did we, after that? Because you went off and did your own thing.
I did. Yeah. Nobody wanted me anymore.
I don't think they wanted
you
before.
It was probably for the best.
Yeah.
No, not really. Not really. I was clinging on by my fingernails. Yeah. But that was good. It was the tail end of Britpop, crazy times in the city kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then 9/11 happened and things changed a little bit.
Yep, it did.
Yeah.
Crazy days, actually. Really all a bit crazy. But that was a long time ago. But to cut a long story short, we both ended up with Kiwi partners. And Keith,
that's true.
And you moved here with Anne in what year?
2005.
Oh, wow, that's a long time.
When our daughter was 10 months old. Yeah.
Oh, so she was born in the UK, wasn't she, Sylvie? Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I've been here less than 2 years. We moved here at the end of 2019. Timed it very nicely for in terms of COVID. So we kind of felt a bit safe and warm down here, protected from COVID. Not so smug anymore because it's looking like it's getting us. We're at a point at the moment, but we don't want to go down that road. That's all a bit too serious. So yeah, that's a bit about who we are and how we got here. Moving on. Has anything caught your eye since we last spoke, Captain? Anything in the culture world?
Caught my eye. Well, as far as news goes, I'd probably say I'm trying hard to avoid news.
Yeah.
With it being 75% COVID-related angst. For my mental health, I'm avoiding most news, let's say. I browse the news on websites. I don't really listen to it or watch it. So nothing's apart from the obvious, has caught my eye with that. But I have been getting myself into a new book that I've got, which is cool, and it's called Uprising, and it's by a guy called Nick Lowe. Not that Nick Lowe. It's another Nick Lowe, spelt Niclow. And he's been walking the Southern Alps of New Zealand and written a book about it from an indigenous perspective. So he's a Ngaitahu tribe.
Right.
We can go into all these things in the future if anybody wants to know about a little bit about New Zealand and that kind of thing. But basically, there's a lot of mountains and outdoor features in New Zealand named after settlers or aspirational things that white people named them after. Famous white people and all that kind of stuff. So this is good to read because it explains everything from a completely different perspective and what the original indigenous people here made of those mountains, the journeys they made through the mountains, their camps and food stores and all that kind of thing, how they existed out there in the wild. And it's good. It's great to get that perspective. Plus his descriptions of just days out in the hills are pretty exciting.
Oh, good. That must have been quite a walk for him, because even Gandalf and his mates couldn't make it over those mountains, could they? They went under.
No. Yeah. Giants made of rocks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. No, they're not in the book. But it is pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, I haven't got anything that intellectual to talk about this week, apart from the new Bond movie. No, I didn't see it. My entire family went to see it, apart from me and the kids and my father-in-law. And we ended up having a little family emergency while everyone was at the cinema and couldn't be contacted, which was good timing. But so the new Bond movie. I hear there's a big thing happens in it. Obviously, I'm not going to spoil anything. But I mention it because when we first started planning doing the podcast, we talked about, topics for episodes, and obviously episode 007, the topic writes itself. But we want to make it a bit more interesting than that. So if anyone's got anything around Bond that might be interesting that we could talk about, or they want to talk about even, maybe Bond themes. We talked about maybe cover versions of Bond themes. There have been some good ones of those. So, give us your ideas. Anything around Bond that we could do for episode 007. So that's the only thing really that's caught my eye this week. The Newcastle United takeover, of course. We'll see how that unfolds. Yeah, so the main theme for this episode is around TV shows. Very broad title, that. But I thought we'd just talk about TV shows we've liked, TV shows we're currently watching, get feedback from the public around what they've been watching, what they recommend. What do you think, Captain? What's on your list?
What's on my list?
Yeah.
I have a giant list. I have a giant get around to watching this list. But I keep getting diverted. Again, I think it's part of the times that we're living through, is that, for example, there's Vigil, starring Suran Jones, who's solving a whodunit on a submarine.
Yeah, it's on my list as well.
Yeah. Tense, claustrophobic.
It is.
It's not how I want to be feeling at the moment. So I've left that one on the back burner. I'm sure it's great. I would watch Suran Jones read the phone book.
Yeah.
But in fact, that would be better than watching Vigil at the moment when we feel the way we do about the world outside. So that's one thing that I'm not watching just yet.
Well, we're 4 episodes in. We've seen 4. I guess it's only a 6-parter, and I can say it's very good. But it's like any crime drama, just the twist is it's on a submarine, which, as you say, does give it a little, does make you feel a bit icky, actually, at times. Yeah. So instead of that, what have I been catching up on? I've managed to find pretty much all of the Mortimer and Whitehouse Go Fishing episodes on the internet without using VPNs and all that kind of stuff. And I know we differ here in that I love them, especially the drone shots of the countryside, and the interaction between the two guys is just great. And it's always hilarious when Bob falls over, generally every episode. I used to fish. I still do fish over here if we were allowed to go places to fish. So that's good. But I know that you have a contrary view. Yeah, I do. Again, this one's on my list. This came up as, we got people to suggest shows that we could talk about, or shows we should watch, and so on. And there were 2 that came up from several people. This was one of them. Whitehouse and Mortimer Go Fishing, or whatever it's called. Now, I was a huge fan of this show, the first couple of series, which was probably 3 or 4 years ago. At that time, I was out doing a lot of fishing myself in the UK. Same sort of fishing as these guys, course fishing and so on. And in fact, even to some of the same places that they filmed these things. And had some great times. I used to go with my mate Scott. Scott, if you're listening, hello. I used to go with my mate Scott, and I think I was the Bob character and he was the Paul character. And we had some great times, some of the most memorable times. But I had a bit of a shift in my my views about things, which I won't go into. But I stopped fishing. I didn't think I should be doing it, so I stopped doing it. But that's not to say I stopped watching the show, because it's a great show. It's a sort of humanist, whatever, show. But then when the new series, the previous series started, when I just moved here, I watched the first one and I just couldn't watch it. It's too homesick. It just triggers huge homesick feelings for me. I haven't been able to watch it. I will get round to watching them. But no, it's just, it's just been a bit tough. Reminds me of happy times back home. There was only one episode that really did that to me, and that was the Christmas one a couple of years ago. That was, that was the one where I felt more like that. So, so what about shows you have been watching? Shows I have been watching? Well, it's hardly a global perspective on this one, but there's a couple of radio presenters over here called Jono and Ben, and they've done various shows over the past few years. We even went to see them run a show live at one point, which was good, their previous show. And they are currently touring New Zealand, or were touring New Zealand, partaking in odd sports like lawnmower racing, or they went to see a female weightlifter who towed them along in a large truck. They played Quidditch the other day, and instantly became 2 of the top 20 Quidditch players in New Zealand, because nobody plays Quidditch. They were the Kiwi beer pong championship. They took part in that. Chili eating, barefoot water skiing. It's been good. I don't like everything they do, but dropping these 2 guys into 3 situations every week in some bizarre sport and making them do it. Roller derby, that was another one. Has been very entertaining. They're into the 5th episode now. I think there's at least another one coming along, maybe this week. And that's been good. And everybody's enjoyed that. I haven't watched any of those. I've seen the trailers. So, it might be possible to get, obviously, their New Zealand show. That's a New Zealand show, so people here can see it. But maybe there might be some episodes on YouTube or something that people elsewhere might be able to see. Yeah. We'll put some links to all this, anything we mentioned in the show notes. And
you can go searching.
Okay. Any more, Captain?
It's generally, we, as a family, been trying to get together to watch these as well. Obviously, that's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
There are other times when we just lock ourselves in our room, get our laptops out, and watch whatever we want to watch.
Yeah.
But my daughter has insisted, or suggested more, and we fell into line, that we watch all the Avengers films in chronological order. And we're doing it. We're pretty much getting there.
Do you mean all the Marvel films? Is that what you mean? All the
Marvel.
Yeah.
Marvel. There you go. See, I'm not up with
I know,
popular culture enough.
It's difficult.
So we have 2 to go, apparently.
Wow, that's good going.
The Infinity War and the big extravaganza at the end. We missed out, I have to confess, the Thor ones that weren't directed by Taika Waititi, i.e. the ones that aren't Thor Ragnarok, because I watched the first 10 minutes of the first Thor movie and went, my God, this is boring. So I confess to not wanting to watch those. But it's been good. It's been a good exercise. And some of them, the ones that I liked, were perhaps not everybody's favourites, even. The 3 Iron Man ones, for example, I preferred the third one to the previous 2. That might be a controversial point of view. Yeah.
No,
but it's been good.
I've seen 1 or 2 of them.
Doctor Strange we watched. Yeah. Doctor Strange we watched the other day with its mind-bending Inception-style CGI. That was very good. Very good. I enjoyed that a lot. Seeing London fold up and roll itself up. That took me back to the late 90s when we were there. Yeah.
Okay. I sat down the other day and wrote a list. I went through my Netflix history and all that stuff. And it looks like I've watched quite a lot of TV in the last few years. Never really was a big TV consumer much, but I've got a whole list. I'm going to flash through the list and I'll revisit my favourites. This is stuff I've watched over the last few years. Killing Eve, Sex Education, End of the Fucking World, Giri Haji, Schitt's Creek, Friday Night Dinner, Modern Family, Afterlife, Detectorists, Peaky Blinders, Queen's Gambit, Narcos, Unorthodox, The US Office, Fleabags, Parks and Recreation, and I've probably missed a few there. But yeah, I've managed to get through all that lot in the last couple of years. Quite a few of those with the kids as well. So Schitt's Creek, Friday Night Dinner, Modern Family, Parks and Recreation, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. They're ones that the kids really liked a lot as well. They're good family fun, those ones. But I went through that list and I thought, okay, which of them was my favourite? I just finished the 3rd season of Sex Education, which I just thought was brilliant. The first 2 were good, but I thought the third season was just brilliant. But Killing Eve has to be the top, I think, out of all that. It might be my favourite TV show ever, I think, Killing Eve. I thought it was fantastic. Other people might disagree, but let us know if you have a view on any of that stuff. Queen's Gambit, that one stood out as well as being something quite different.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was. And Giri Haji I watched quite recently as well. I don't know if any of you have seen that, if you've seen that, Keith, or not, but it was good, wasn't it? Again,
Kelly MacDonald reading the phone book.
Always good.
Again, she's
always good.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Always good. Yeah.
So that one, if you haven't heard of it, that's a sort of Japanese family mafia kind of scenario. The show is half set in Japan, half set in London, and there's been a murder in London of a Japanese businessman, and there are links to the family wars back in Japan, and a police detective from Japan is sent to London to try and kind of get to the bottom of it. He goes undercover. It's very good. Very good. Flits between London and Japan. Tokyo.
And it all kicks off.
Yeah. There's a bit of violence in there. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was...
Unorthodox, you mentioned.
Yeah.
That was some luminous performances in that one. That was superb.
Yeah. Again, that was quite some time ago I watched that, but if I remember the plot correctly, it was a Orthodox Jewish girl, young woman, who was being made to marry someone she didn't want to marry, so she legged it, basically, and she went off to Berlin, I think, was it? Or she went off to Germany.
Yeah.
I won't say any more than that, but yeah, very good, very kind of hard-hitting one, wasn't it? Not that many laughs, but good one.
Yeah. I do have a mental block on some of the ones you suggested, in that I don't get on very well with American comedy series.
Well,
maybe a hugely sweeping statement.
When they get past the 11th season, 26 episodes in each season, it can be
How many?
It can be a drag. I mean, I like the ones that are easygoing, like Parks and Recreation is so funny. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but there's a character, Ron Swanson, in there. He's one of my heroes, one of my favourite comedy characters, Ron Swanson. So Parks and Recreation is worth a watch. Easygoing, you can dip in and out of it; it's no problem. But I know what you mean. Some of them go on a bit long. I finally got round to the US Office, probably earlier this year. That was about 10 seasons, but really, really good. Different to the original British one, very different. But again, that got to the end of season 8, and I started season 9. I thought, this is dreadful, so I started doing a bit of reading up, and everyone said, don't bother with seasons 9 and 10. Just don't bother. And then some hard-hitting stuff in there. Narcos, I think that was the first thing I ever watched when I first got Netflix, was Narcos. Did you see that? That was good.
No.
Yeah, very good. Very good. The TV that gets churned out nowadays on these platforms, I mean, this is pretty much just Netflix I'm talking about here, but it's still BBC and Channel 4 are churning out some great stuff as well. But it's amazing, really. It's just there, isn't it? Every week something comes up. You must watch. You know.
Yeah.
Sport for choice. Really.
Conversely, on regular New Zealand television, it's generally the imports that shine. There are the odd couple of series over the past few years that have been unmissable, but the endless diet of knitting your own cake competition. And I'm not a soap opera man anymore, not that I ever was much, but there's just too much that isn't for me. And I understand that in a small country with limited resources, you have to go for the popular. But unfortunately, kind of disenfranchises people like me, really.
Yeah, and the budget's always a bit tight, I think, when they do, their own versions of these kind of shows. Yeah, they seem a little bit done on the cheap.
Yeah, there was a big budget series called One Lane Bridge, which was set in the South Island, and spectacular scenery, and some good acting, but slightly absurd storyline in places, but that was good, and that was a solid watch. A whodunit again, but there are all too few of those. On regular TV.
I don't think we can talk about popular TV today without talking about Squid Game. Now, I think that is set to be...
A lot of people mention it.
Yes, that's set to become Netflix's most successful series. So I think as responsible podcast hosts, we need to watch it. I did watch the first episode a couple of days ago. It looks good, looks fine. I watched it with the kids. The youngest one wasn't keen, a bit much for her. The older one, who's 13, they're all into it at that age, but I'm just seeing people say, don't let your kids watch it. Because I think it gets pretty gruesome later on. So I've only seen episode 1, but I will get through it just so I can have a view on it, really. So I'll come back to that later on.
We could do that. And we've now got the excuse. I'm doing some research for the podcast, so I have to sit here and watch this.
That's right. Hey, we could, can we start this as a business and claim our Netflix subscription on tax? Right, leave that with me. And in terms of what I'm actually watching at the moment, there's 2 series. We already talked about Vigil, the submarine business. I'm also watching, this is Disney Plus, Only Murders in the Building. Again, I don't know if you've
it's on my list again.
Yeah, it's really good. It's pretty easy going. Again, I'm watching it with the kids. Basically, it's Steve Martin, who I think came up with the idea, and Martin Short and Selena Gomez are the three main actors in it.
Yeah.
And they're three people that live in this quite luxury apartment block in New York. They don't know each other at the start. They're three random people, but they each have an interest in true crime podcasts. And they happen to bump into each other and share their interest. And it just so happens that there is a mysterious death in the building. So they set about getting involved and actually creating their own true crime podcast on the basis of what's going on in their building. And it unfolds and it unfolds. It's great. It's pretty easy going. It's not gruesome or anything, so it's kid friendly. But yeah, we like that. Nearly at the end, and it's quite good. They're just releasing one episode a week. I like it when they do that, because then you don't end up staying up all night when it comes out. So yeah, that's what I'm watching now.
I tend to fill in sort of the last 45 minutes of the evening before I go to bed with some complete take your brain out and watch TV. And I'm currently wading through, don't shoot me, Car SOS.
Right, okay. Yeah, why not?
Kind of slightly obsessed with barn finds of rusting hulks that are repaired and given back to people who are in terrible straits. They're seriously ill. They can't complete these things. It's a terrible premise for a show in a way, but I like seeing them rescued. Let's put it that way. The main rescuer, the mechanic, is a guy called Fuzz Townsend, who used to be the drummer in Pop Will Eat Itself, I think. Is that right? Yes.
Wow.
Strange contact.
Random, yeah.
Yeah, completely random. And his compadre, Tim Shaw, is the one who does all the sort of bits that don't involve extensive repairs or a lot of knowledge. The one bad thing about it, and I think it holds true for quite a lot of car shows like this, not just the ones where they repair things, but car shows in general, is that at least 50% of the presenters have to be dickheads. I'm sorry, but they just do.
The Top Gear paradox, yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are, if you met them in the pub, you would not like them at all. In the case of Car SOS, I love Fuzz Townsend. He's a Midlander, and he tells it like it is. I'm not so in love with Tim Shaw, who is a bit of an idiot.
Right, fair enough.
I'll be charitable. Somebody out there might love Tim, but
if you're listening, Tim, drop us a line.
Call in.
Yeah.
And we're a long way away.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I do watch it. There's nothing like seeing a rusting bit of stuff restored to its full glory. It's good.
Yeah, I have to confess, and this is even worse than that, I think. My sort of everyone else has gone to bed, I'll get an hour to myself viewing is Coronation Street, which you get over here and they show it in, it's an hour long, so I think they compress it, so I think you get an hour 4 times a week or something. And I haven't watched Corrie for about more than 5 years back home, long time. A lot of the same characters are there, and there must be something in the water in Weatherfield, but none of the women look any older. They all look exactly the same as they did like 5 or 10 years ago. So I don't know what's going on there, but they haven't changed a bit. But yeah, I'm trying to drag myself away from that because I've got other stuff to watch. So I need to pull myself out of the Coronation Street hole. But it's so easy, isn't it?
I probably haven't watched that since I left Yorkshire.
Oh wow!
Which
was black and white then.
Probably 1981. Yeah. I would watch it. I would watch it when I went home at Christmas, as you do with them. The general something horrendous would happen, like shop would burn down, or over the Christmas period. But since then, no. It does. I do have one extreme annoyance with the fact that people over here call it Coro.
Oh,
Coro.
Yeah.
And that just gets on my nerves.
Yep.
It's Corrie.
Yep.
It always has been, and it always will be. It's not Coro.
Yep.
So there.
Yeah, so I do watch it. But so that, yeah, again, dear listeners, if you've got any TV guilty pleasures that you want to confess, then our confession booth is open. You know how to get in touch.
Yeah,
the only other thing I wanted to say, and this might not be quite so relevant for you because you've been here a long time now, but shows I miss, TV shows that I miss from the UK. Now, obviously, I've got a VPN and I can watch anything on BBC iPlayer and all that, but it's a bit of a faff and fitting it all in. I just wondered if there's any shows that you miss, any TV shows that you miss.
Whoa, throwing a curve there.
Yeah.
It's no. Well, I guess not. The fact that I can't come up.
You can't think of one. You've been away so long.
Oh yeah, I really, really would want to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple sprung to my mind. One being Match of the Day, of course. Again, not that I can't watch it, but I like to watch it at 10:30 on a Saturday night. You know, I could watch it live actually. We're having my breakfast on Sunday. I could watch it live on the iPlayer, but it's not the same. So I miss that, and I miss Spring Watch as well, because the other one, Autumn Watch, I was a big fan of Spring Watch, which you maybe don't even know what that is, Captain, do you? Spring Watch?
No, I do.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So I missed that greatly. Yeah. I loved it, that show.
I have a question, though. Is Kate really humble?
Oh, I don't know if she is. Does Chris Packham is the other question.
Indeed.
Yeah. He's having a bit of trouble at the moment, poor old Chris.
He is,
yeah. He's upset the hunting lot. But we won't go there because it's too serious.
It is.
Yeah. But
I will just say, if people in England are upset about hunting, and this is a TV thing too, in that in New Zealand you can watch hunting on the TV. It's not put your red coats on, sit on a horse and chase a fox across the fields kind of hunting. It's hunting where you go into the mountains and kill something and bring it back and eat it. There are generally warnings before each program, because pig hunting with dogs is quite a terrible sight if you're not used to it. But it is a thing, and it is a way of life for quite a lot of people.
Moving on. So, TV shows you liked as a kid. Not necessarily children's shows, but, as a teenager or as a kid watching adult TV. Was there anything you remember? I'm thinking things like The Sweeney and stuff like that.
Well, definitely that.
Yeah.
Generally, when I was preteen and a teenager, I would be packed off to my mum's parents' house on Saturday night so that my mum and dad could go out and have fun. And I would be allowed to watch all sorts of things that I wasn't normally allowed to watch, or stay up late enough to watch. And so things like, this might not necessarily be one of those, but, Starsky and Hutch was always a big one. Those kind of Saturday night programs are the ones that you sort of look back on. Other things that maybe you remember for just being very striking, or I don't know, showed you things that maybe you wouldn't normally have seen. Play for today kind of things that they would have. Yeah,
those Mike Lee things and stuff like that. Yeah, Abigail's Party, that sort of thing.
Oh, Nuts in May,
brilliant.
Abigail's Party, those kind of things. Those were just
still great today.
Quite shocking in a way. Yeah,
because they were just purely adult and purely serious. Although they may have been light-hearted in some way, they were serious things, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, great stuff. Do you remember, you talk about Starsky and Hutch, the movie was on the other night and we caught a bit of it. It's just hilarious. They did such a great job of that film. It's just so funny. But do you remember a show called The Streets of San Francisco?
Yep.
Yeah, with the young Michael Douglas in it and Carl Morden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember watching that with my dad. He used to love that.
All those cop shows.
Yeah.
Kojak.
Yeah.
Cannon.
Yeah, if anyone can. Yeah.
Well, how did he ever catch anyone? It's a very big lad.
He's a big lad. We talked about the Sweeney. I used to love, and again, I used to sit and watch it with my dad. I would have only been about 12 or something when this was on. It was Minder. Just loved Minder so much. And comedy-wise, Rising Damp was a big favourite of mine as a kid. And then when I got to about probably 13-ish, I suppose it was, The Young Ones came on. And that changed my life. I became a different person.
Groundbreaking.
I couldn't, well, now I couldn't, but I used to be able to quote every word of every episode. We just got we got a video to quote The Young Ones. We just got a video recorder at that time, so I taped them. So I just used to watch The Young Ones all the time. And loved it, just loved it. And I don't know, haven't watched one in a long time, so I don't know how it stands up now. I'll probably get a lot of the jokes I didn't get back then. They talk about politics and stuff that I didn't really understand at the time, but I probably would get a lot of it now, so maybe I'll go back and revisit them.
Yeah.
And
I guess the one for me in later years was Blackadder.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when they got to the end of the first series and thought, this really isn't that funny.
Yeah.
We've got to tune this up. We've got to bang more jokes in.
Yep.
Every line has to be some kind of a setup or a joke.
Yep.
No faffing about. So once they got to Blackadder 2, which was the best one, I think. I know I could have my arm twisted about that.
Yeah.
I still watch them occasionally. So sharp, concise, well written.
Oh, great stuff. Yeah, absolutely great stuff.
And speaking of sharp, concise, and well written, Porridge, of course, where most of the action takes place in one room.
Well, that's a sitcom for you, isn't it? Yeah, anything with Ronnie Barker, really, I think. Right, we could go off for hours on this one. I don't think we should.
We could.
But listeners, do send us anything, any memories we might have triggered for you or anything like that. Let us know. We'd love to know.
Bad or good?
Bad or good. Yeah, bad's good. Good's not bad. So, okay. Well, I think we're probably coming to the end of the show now. I think we've done enough. As per usual, thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed what we've done. Please send us some feedback. You can go to onlyapodcast.com and that will get you to all of our stuff, or at Only a Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. There's a Facebook page as well. And if you like email, remember that? You can do hello@onlyapodcast.com if you want to email us something. If it doesn't fit in with the socials or you want it a bit more private, then you can email us as well. I don't think there's any more to say, is there, Captain?
No. But just keep up with our socials. We're going to bombard you with all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
we're learning stuff. I learned what an audiogram is yesterday.
Learning things. Yeah. And there may be the odd spot competition coming up in the future.
Yeah.
We've got one or two ideas about what we might do to fill the gaps between podcasts.
Yep.
So
it's all good.
Yeah, we'll be there.
So I'm going to end on a joke. My mate just got fired from his job on the Dodgems. It's okay, he's going to sue them for funfair dismissal. But say goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Captain.
Right, see you later, folks.
Au revoir.
You've been listening to Only a Podcast. If you would like to get in touch and share your feedback and ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Go to onlyapodcast.com, or you can find us at Only a Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, or via our Facebook page. Remember, it's only a podcast.